Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Master of everything else. No, not quite, but there you go. And today I have for you a 1 vs 1 on Langres. Yes, indeed, a Langres-tastic match. Right here in the sort of less wooded area, in the plains, the fields of Langres, where the fight shall be taking place. And of course we do have this sort of road winding through the map, right to the crossroads where one victory point is, and then straight through your opponent's base. Most interesting. And of course we have some wide fields, and of course we have this position with this very dominating house which can control some numerous points, although if you can stick to this right at the edge side here, you can usually avoid any MGs inside it. At the same time we have the only high munitions point right here, in fact the only high resource point, which is also rather nicely covered by buildings here, though at the same time there's bocage. We can make it easier to sort of get the drop on this one, although these ones a bit harder, but then again you can sort of sneak through here. And for this house there's also bocage, so of course not quite that easy either. Fantastic, isn't it? Yes indeed. Oh no, wait, no it's not. But let us get straight to the action. Let's go have a look at our opponents. In the northern corner we are seeing Szemerac. Szemerac, yes indeed, it rolls quite off the tongue. Szemerac, when you're looking for coffee, I'm not sure. But here he is with a Schwimmwagen, indeed, my goodness, even a beer stein right there. That's a cheerful chap. And he is there for the Panzer Lehr division, mostly its Ausklungsabteilung. Having fought the British at Villers Bocage, it is now being pulled out towards the Americans to sort of slow them down. And who shall be facing them in the southern corner? It shall be Bunnytester, yes indeed. The most rough American Bunnytester. Yes, no, that just doesn't work. But here he is, leading the 4th Infantry Division, testing bunnies along the way. Whatever that means, I don't want to know, and you don't want to either. And I hope he doesn't either. So let us get right to it, and let us see if this sort of devolves into the usual Panzer Grenadier spam armored cars. Then I have absolutely no fucking idea what to do. I sort of thinking from the Panzer Elite player's perspective and then sort of wing it. Or perhaps there's some sort of deeper strategy, perhaps some sort of idea. Perhaps more than just throwing away Panzer Grenadiers and armored cars. And what shall the American commander be doing in response to this? Will he be prepared for the Panzer Grenadiers and armored cars? Or shall they tear through him like a armored car through soft, squishy infantry out in an open field?
Schwimmwagen to the rescue!
Schwimmwagen to the rescue! And I forgot to turn down the volume. Yes, indeed, my apologies. But Schwimmwagen to the rescue. More Schwimmwagen, indeed. Yes, that's the way we like it. Schwimmwagens for everyone, except the Americans. We don't want those to have those precious Schwimmwagens. Amphibious car, reconnaissance vehicle as well. Not sure what divisions had it, although I do believe a few SS divisions had it. They were quite nice, and certainly was used during the retreat from Falaise and disaster. I certainly have one account where one was used to cross the river. I can't remember, I would believe, no, it was perhaps the Seine. And then they had to plug the Schwimmwagen with pieces of steel bread to actually ensure that it didn't sink. So of course fun stuff there. Engineers heading towards the west, American riflemen heading towards the center. Rather interestingly, he's ignoring the east, instead focusing rather heavily on the west. And of course we might be seeing an engagement between the Schwimmwagen and the engineers. But perhaps the Schwimmwagen realizes there's danger ahead. It's Schwimmwagen sensing that. No. Apparently he just wanted to ensure he hadn't spilled some beer from the beer stein. But no, what? Or is he drunk, having had too much from the beer stein? I'm not sure. I actually think he's drunk. Panzer Grenadiers now arriving on the field. Gewehr 43s. Good show. Further Panzer Grenadiers arriving on the field. Rather interesting move actually to go for a lot of capping power right from the start. But that's not a bad idea necessarily. We'll of course have to see how this works out. Panzer Grenadiers engaging the riflemen. Although the riflemen will be taking up cover behind the haystacks, which will certainly be giving them a cover. And Panzer Grenadiers taking up cover behind a piece of shrubbery, hoping not to call upon the wrath of the Knights of Knee upon them. And what is this? Is a rather sneaky, some might say dishonorable method of using the Schwimmwagen to sort of drive through, pushing the opponent's infantry out of cover. Not sure what to say of this myself, although the usual key is to have more infantry than just one chap, and then of course focus down the Schwimmwagen. They're trying to do so, but these riflemen need to get out there. Down to one man. The Panzer Grenadiers firing away mercilessly as the Schwimmwagen pushes around mercilessly, being a little Schwimmwagen bully, getting vengeance for all of the things I suppose it might have been bullied with earlier in life. And now these riflemen are being trapped by the Schwimmwagen. They need to retreat as well. This is not a good engagement, but the Schwimmwagen goes out of control, crashes into the fence. The driver thrust onto the cold, relentless ground. His trusty shovel right behind him, but he can shovel no more. And we never saw the Schwimmwagen actually shovel. Engineers taking up position in this house. Engineers, other team pushing continually towards the west. Rather interesting. Schwimmwagen going for this point. Panzer Grenadiers, not quite sure what they are having in mind. Riflemen getting reinforced. This is good. And we are seeing a Jeep actually with a 30 caliber light machine gun, air cooled Browning. Nice munitions built on the gunner, opening up on the Panzer Grenadiers. Perhaps not the most effective weapon at range, but still it can actually do a bit of good if you use it to support your infantry. And of course, it can hunt down Schwimmwagens, continuing to fire away at the Panzer Grenadiers. Riflemen moving in to support, increasing the amount of fire raining down on those hapless chaps out in the open, or at least behind the bushes, the hedges. And engineers doing their best, but they are getting gunned down, focused down by the Panzer Grenadiers. They will need to retreat most swiftly, most hastily, before they're gunned down most violently. Flamethrowers apparently being the order of the day, but they were too late. Riflemen and Jeep charging in while the Panzer Grenadiers were occupied by the engineers. This was a good maneuver. And now the Panzer Grenadiers are getting gunned down. Good show by the Jeep and Riflemen. A Jeep up close to Panzer Grenadiers can actually do quite a bit of damage with its bursts. So that's rather where I want it to be. Of course, you want to be careful that you don't actually focus it down, but when, for example, Panzer Grenadiers occupied with Riflemen, use the Jeep, push it in, gun those buggers down, and get out of there. That's actually a good move there, and I rather suspect that is what the tester of bunnies went for. Or at least I hope so. Another Schwimmwagen now without its comrade is left behind. Apparently all ready in case they need to cross some rivers, but there are no rivers on Langres, at least not that I'm aware of, nor anyone else. Jeep moving across, scouting, perhaps hoping to catch a Schwimmwagen. There we go. Opening up. Schwimmwagen taking damage. Get out of there, Schwimmwagen. Don't be a hero. You don't have any weapons. You can't be a hero, actually. And engineers sneaking through here. What do they have in mind? Riflemen taking this point, although, no, they have gained veterancy 1, though that's always good. And finally beginning to take some points on the eastern side. But that is it. Panzer Jäger command going up, and the Americans have absolutely nothing to actually deal with it. This could end up in what you'd call a very bad way. Panzer Grenadiers advancing, and well with their riflemen, and the riflemen are out in the open. They need to get away. There we go. Good job there, rather realizing. And now more Gewehr 43s being equipped, increasing the amount of available firepower for the Panzer Grenadiers. And a grenade. That's actually quite interesting. Not a bad move there, going for these sort of clumped up Panzer Grenadiers. Sadly, not enough damage was done there. Still one goes down. And the Panzer Grenadiers at a bit more low, getting back into cover, making them easier targets. Engineers moving in, opening up, but they might need to retreat. More Gewehr 43s being equipped. Apparently the Panzer Lehr has cracked open a large depot of Gewehr 43s. Another grenade, killing numerous Panzer Grenadiers. Oh my goodness, that was absolutely brilliant. Rather bold, but it worked. And of course that is the danger of sort of clumping up your troops, and that was a lot of losses for the Panzer Lehr, Panzer Grenadier Division. Battalion really, and not division of course. Quite good there. Schwimmwagen still schwimmwagening around. Well, they might be running into some riflemen. There we go, taking fire. First armored car, Sonderkraftfahrzeug 222, I believe. Rhyming with a bit of bundles of this and that. Moving ahead. Auto cannon ready, opening up on the riflemen, trying to cut off there. That's actually a good move. And that little veterancy will probably help, but they need to get out of there. Good. Not trying to hang about for any longer, but really negating any sort of resource advantage the Panzer Elite might have. But then again, pushing onwards at all sides. This is good, this is aggressive, this is bold, this is nice. And of course, the armored car might soon run over all the Americans and rather ruin that. Deep on the run from the armored car. Engineers, no, riflemen sort of hanging about. No doctrine as of yet for Szemerac and his Panzer Lehr Truppen. Deep out in the open, getting fired upon by the armored car. Neither side really doing much to the other. Although if those autocannon shots connect with the Jeep, that's probably going to be very, very combustible soon. Riflemen with BARs moving in. Panzer grenades out in the open, taking quite a bit of fire. The Americans focusing down those. Engineers repairing the Jeep. Panzer grenadiers, suppressive volley on the riflemen. My goodness. Further riflemen moving in heavy cover. This is good against armored cars. Cover is gold. Unless of course they flank, in which case it's useless. And into a full retreat they go. Engineers sort of sneaking out once more. Jeep and BAR providing a bit of fire against those panzer grenades out in the open. And of course the Jeep can also provide some nice scouting on the whole situations. That's good of course as well. Riflemen doing a bit of work up here, trying to deny the Panzer Elite the fuel there. But an armored car ruins this. And what is this? Engineers sneaking through in the east, continue harassing. This is good. Brilliant, clever, and might be a key to victory. Although these riflemen really need to be better in cover. They are a bit too far away from it. Panzer grenadiers though getting gunned down, and now he's leaving it once more. Oh dear, and forced into a retreat. The veterans, he does provide a bit of cover. Veterans 1 for riflemen basically makes them a bit more accurate and also a bit harder to hit for enemy infantry. Armored cars charging in right into all of this firepower. Panzer grenades though getting gunned down. Only down to one man, 2 armored cars though blasting away. Sandbags being laid down, but apparently the armored cars are not focusing down the engineers, giving them time, otherwise they would have been Swiss cheese. Whew, that was quite a lot of words. Hanging out behind the heavy cover. This is actually an interesting maneuver, not a bad one, although a bit risky, but it clearly has worked off. Riflemen with veterancy 2, making them more accurate, making their BARs more lethal against the armored cars, but forced into retreat. 3 armored cars, 1 with offensive veterancy, and 2 of them quite damaged. And what are they doing? Charging right into the American base. And oh dear, be aware that armored cars aren't quite as effective in frontal assaults. Grenades, that's a bit off. But armored car down. Another one trying to over... Oh dear. I mean, I can appreciate the idea that he was sort of hoping to move them in. Get the kill. Kill those damn Yankees and secure a victory for the Reich. But you don't charge them in from the front. Armored cars are not tiny tanks, despite what Lieutenant Günther, I believe it was. Oh dear, I can't remember his name, but you know, the guy from Allo Allo always referred to his armored car, which was a Sonderkraftfahrzeug 222 as his little tank. But it is not a little tank, not at all. And if you're trying to do it, yeah, it's not going to hold up to it, mate. So don't do it, please. Promise me that, whoever you are. And what is this? Schwimmwagen laying down mine. This, of course, means tank destroyer doctrine. And of course, let's just briefly pause and reiterate. What can the Schwimmwagen do? Well, with tank destroyer, it can lay down mines. It costs 35 munitions, though, so that's a bit expensive, but still always good for a nice surprise there. Luftwaffe, it can actually target out targets, making you can see them in the fog of war, and I believe your troops can hit them a bit easier. And with scorched earth, they can lay down incendiary mines, which basically means everything goes up in fire. So there you go. Brief reiteration over, and let us return to the fight most swiftly, and let us return to Bunnytester. He who has tested the bunnies more furiously than everybody else, I know. And the Jeep will not be making it, taking quite a bit of fire, crashing into a fence. And then the armored car moves through it relentlessly. Elite. And some engineers hiding out in an old empty barn, of course, meaning it's not so quite old and empty, or at least empty. Coming under quite a bit of fire. They might want to get out of there very soon. As in, very soon, before they're getting shot to pieces. And getting out on the right side, that is good, of course. How do you do that? Well, basically, you click on the unit icon right down here, and of course, you can see them in the building. Then you click on unload, and then you click on the side where the door is you want them to exit from. Otherwise, if you just right click, which of course is a method to getting out bloody quickly though, they might end up exiting through the wrong door. Keep that in mind, and let's return to the fight. Engineers making a dash, and of course the buildings providing cover. Although of course now they're exiting the cover once more, and the armored car has other plans for those engineers, the Panzer grenadiers as well. And they did not make it, the flamethrower going up in flames. Fire. Trier center is up, and medic station almost up as well. Riflemen with veterancy 2, others not.
We hold the initiative.
And apparently rangers are ready to be called in.
Forward supply lines are broken.
More armored cars, my goodness. Apparently the Panzer Elite has gotten a ridiculous amount of armored cars and is now ordered to use them all, or what, I'm not sure. Rifleman charging in once more, using this piece of cover right there. That's actually pretty nice, of course. Good move there. That's certainly not advised against it. Of course, that also shows the useful of placing down some sandbags if you can. And these Panzer Grenadiers out in the open are getting absolutely gunned down. No replacements for them. Actually, he's not been bothering that span. Instead, of course, he's sort of trying to rely on his armored cars. And we've sort of seen, though, they can't really hold up to sort of a frontal fight. They are not meant for it. Riflemen getting gunned down, but the others are continuing onwards. Sticky bombs, perhaps? No. And mind you, veterans, 2 riflemen can actually throw their sticky bombs much farther, making that much dangerous towards any vehicles that shouldn't get sticky bombs on them. Riflemen taking up position in the building there, providing some cover. No sticky bombs, though medics courageously pulling back the wounded. Taking back this point while the riflemen are keeping the armoured cars occupied. This is nice. Armoured cars moving out. He's still relying on an awful lot on them. Schwimmer, though, continuing these. This is nice. Still, I don't really think he should be relying on armoured cars as much, in particular as he's just seen them getting blown to bits and pieces in a frontal assault. And it is sort of the pig-headedness which can end up losing you a game. In particular since you're lacking vital infantry. And what is this? A Hetzer. 83 Jagdpanzer. Although, of course, one should note they were not just tank destroyers, they were actually assault guns. Yes, indeed, they were actually meant as it, but due to, well, their Führer had a sort of idea that he actually liked rivalries and sort of disagreements between the different parts of the entire regime, which is, of course, a bloody stupid idea. That, of course, also meant that different parts of the army actually argued with itself. Not just the Waffen-SS and the regular Heer, but also the different branches of it. For example, infantry, armor, and artillery. And the fun thing was about assault guns, stuff like the Stug. And we see a sticky bombs and a bazooka. Good show there, but let's just briefly pause so we can get through this history lesson. They actually belong to the artillery branch because no one else actually wanted them at the time. Then they rather showed they were great, and Guderian, at sort of after some rather disastrous battles, was of course put in charge as Panzer Inspector. And he wanted them in, but of course he couldn't because the artillery chaps rather realized they was great guns. They were sort of the elite of the artillery, and sort of the only way they could actually sort of prove themselves on the battlefield. And that of course meant that Guderian couldn't really do shit with them. He couldn't sort of designate them out to infantry, and the best he could do was actually basically say, well, some of them are needed for the panzer divisions, so he can get panzers for more divisions. Basically, it was sort of the Germans couldn't produce enough. And then, of course, we had the situation by 1944, another sort of vehicle which he was actually looking for, an assault gun he could give to the infantry divisions, but of course he sort of realized, well, if I call that an assault gun, the artillery chaps are going to grab it, and then of course I can't do what I want with it. What do? Well, I call it a tank destroyer. And there we go, the Hetzer tank destroyer. Of course, it can't be used like that, just like the Stug can. But then again, it's an assault gun. Perhaps not the best one, but still, it's there. And so it was basically designated a tank destroyer, and it was sort of given out mostly to infantry divisions actually, and of course the Volksgrenadier divisions, when they also came about, were supposed to have each a company of these chaps, 13 about. So anyhow, there we go. And of course the Hungarians actually also used them, those that got them also used them as assault guns. And returning to the fight, Rangers leading the way. Good show there. Bazookas ready to put a threat to the armored car menace, with the bazookas heads and moving in. And while it's certainly not the best anti-infantry weapon, it's still not bad, I'd say. Can certainly hit and kill. So do not underestimate the wily Hetzer. And yes, indeed, I hope that history lesson wasn't too much. Also, very nice little cool design.
We have territory cut off from supply.
Of course, based on the Panzer 38T, the sort of same chassis that also led to the Marder 3. From that, the Hetzer itself sort of had some sub-variants, including one Flammenpanzer and a sort of heavy assault gun, sort of equipped with an even bigger gun that the Stu 42 had, the Schwerer Infanteriegeschütz 150mm, which was also rather nasty.
Enemy unit down.
And what is this? We're seeing telemines. That's actually a bit of interesting foresight right there. Apparently, Mr. Szemerac is apparently expecting armor. And a grenade! That was actually pretty clever. Spotting them, and of course, perhaps also heading to set up the mine. If that had done that, that would have been an even bigger explosion range engaging the armored cars, although they are out in the open again. Be careful about being out in the open, that's a bad idea, and of course that's rather why he put up those sandbags, which of course was a good idea. Certainly helped him quite a bit in some rather nasty spots. More sandbags, probably expecting another assault. Good, good, and of course infantry doctrine with its defense operations allow that, although he needs to get on the right side of the cover. It only applies when you're on the right side. Sticky bombs perhaps being thrown. No, the armored cars get away. Heads are firing away from the front. 2 kills so far. Armored cars blasting away. Heads are opening up. Machine gun, which was remote controlled from inside the tank, opening up as well. Riflemen running straight into the heads. Oh my goodness, getting stuck. It's a massacre. It's horrible. It's terrible. Except for those inside the heads, so they are probably very cheerful and... Oh, apparently an armored car went up in smoke there. Just vaporized. Barely any infantry, although assault grenadiers are now being called in. Still not good, and in fact he suffered rather heavily. Again, sort of due to a lack of sort of focusing heavily on one thing, which of course can't be reinforced, and once it's gone, then it's completely gone. There's no way of sort of keeping the investment going, like say infantry, which can be reinforced. Rangers moving out. Submachine guns also ready. Good show there. Increases their firepower and makes them even more nasty, and my headphones slipped off right there. My apologies. Medic station almost ready. Now we are seeing a motor pool ready to put some fear of something into the troops there. Rangers sneaking about, coming under fire, and of course in this case though the Hetzer would probably more likely be there to represent the Stroke 3, since of course Hetzers didn't really arrive on the Western Front until late 1944, about December, by the time of Operation Wacht am Rhein, also known as the Ardennes Offensive. On the Eastern Front, it was actually about there the time of the Normandy invasions, although of course on the Eastern Front. Sort of to give you an idea of when and where. Hetzer though being a sneaky little tank destroyer / assault guns opening up on the barracks, which you can see. Getting a few good shots. Assault grenadiers nearby. Panzer grenadiers taking this point. And he's getting more armored cars. I'm not quite convinced that's the key, although might be getting some more Panzer grenadiers, which he's going to need, and perhaps a Kettenkrad. And what is this? Pressing through from these, taking points, harassing. This is good. Sehr good, mein Freund, except you're an American. Still, Heads now sort of realizing that something's going on with those Rangers, but what? One does not know. And Rangers did a stupid thing there, turning right around the cover out in the open, and a bit of suppressor volleys there, and those Rangers are toast. Or not? Are these? No, they weren't lucky Rangers. Rifleman taking up cover. That was a, well, quite unfortunate anti-tank on the way though. Medics getting torn to bits. Veteran C1 for the Hetzer. Defensive or offensive, we shall see. One makes it more accurate, fire faster and penetrate a bit more. The other makes it a bit move a bit faster, I believe. Makes it a bit harder to actually hit, and also gives a bit more health. And there we go, defensive veterancy opting to make it harder. Artillery being called in on the German positions, and they do manage to avoid it all, but at the same time it's probably their cue to get the devil out of there. And we are seeing our Panzer support command going up, most interesting. Of course, I have to see how that goes. Rather funny to sort of look at the back ends of these buildings. Riflemen advancing, armored car holding them at bay. So are the Hetzer and the other armored car. Anti-tank gun moving in, could be getting off a good few shots against these armored cars. Or no, it's sort of pointed in the wrong direction. That's a bit unfortunate, and the Panzer Elite themselves have cut off the Americans from their territory. At the same time, though, they don't really have anything else except these 2 points right there, and some strategic points. Heads are moving in, opening up on the riflemen, blasting away. Although offensive veterans, might have been a better idea, so its main gun would have an easier time actually hitting the riflemen. Currently, it's having a bit of trouble, as you might have noticed. Still, it heroically does so, and armored cars move in to clean up the job. Riflemen moving out to begin seizing territory back. Good, good. Riflemen treating in the face of the armored car veterans too, though, might be the key to actually surviving, since of course that does make them a bit harder to hit. Among other things, that's generally one of the advantages American troops get when the... Oh dear, that they didn't make the last step. Most unfortunate, though. Medics might be making some return on that. Still, general thing about American veterans is it gives them veterans. It basically gives them more accuracy, makes them harder to hit, and then some of the later stages also gives them more damage. That's basically it. Panzer grenades advancing out. Other chaps repairing remains of the vehicle fleet, and we are seeing a Bergtiger coming out, perhaps hoping to take advantage of all those wreckages laying about. Certainly not a bad idea, although the Bergtiger probably didn't actually exist as a Bergtiger. More likely would have been a Berg Panther, and probably would have been a better choice, or perhaps the Berg Panzer Lehr. I believe there was also actually a Berg version of the Hetzer. Yes, indeed, another variant of the Hetzer. Riflemen taking up positions there. Mines being laid down there by the engineers. Not a bad position, in fact. Another anti-tank gun is out, opening up from behind the wall of sandbags. Panzer grenades coming out of quite a bit of fire. Artillery being called down right there on this spot. Oh dear. Killing quite a few Panzer grenades, taking them into their grave. Sending them flying through the air. And the heads up. Oh, the Bergtiger apparently is hoping to put this Schwimmwagen together, perhaps. Heads are advancing in the distance, covered by all the smoke. Riflemen taking up position right there, although they probably won't be able to do much except present themselves as a big fat target. There we go. Heads are scoring a kill for the fatherland. Machine guns and main guns blazing away. The house not taking an awful lot of damage for that though. And oh dear, he exited from the wrong point. A better point probably would have been here, further away from the sneaky and Panzer Elite units. Bergtiger recovers the Schwimmwagen, and the Schwimmwagen doesn't look like it will be making much longer. Anti-tank guns advancing. And then the Schwimmwagen goes up again. Armored car also went out, leaving him again once more with a little less to actually deal with anything. No more Panzer, not more Panzer grenades. Sadly, he doesn't get enough infantry, although he is down to the minimum infantry of 3. Armored car sneaking about. Heads are sort of the only thing really holding the line at the moment. That's a bit tragic. Advancing against the riflemen, hoping to catch them in the sight, but no, anti-tank gun shot damages the engine. Rangers could be moving in now for the kill. I said they could be moving in for the kill, apparently not. And let us return to Mr. Szemerac, and I do believe it's time for the mid-game analysis. Echo. And of course, what is the situation currently? Well, currently things are not really looking good for our Panzer Elite friend of the Panzer Lehr. His sort of heavy reliance on armored car while offensive isn't really helping him when he actually has to hold the ground, and not certainly having to hold them in a direct confrontation. And they're certainly going all up in flames. The Hetzer can a bit more help with that, but at the same time he needed more Panzer grenades, and he needed something a bit more sturdy to actually support them. The Panzer Support Command might be providing something, and perhaps more Hetzers could also do it, but things have not really been going his way. At the same time, Bunnytester has been able to really turn things around, push onwards, laying down mines, although tiller mines have also been laid down as well. Anti-tank guns now forward, but he needs to be careful that they don't become exposed, because currently he only has a ranger team to actually protect them, and if the Panzer Grenadiers manage to force away those rangers, those anti-tank guns are going to be toast. So be careful about that. Of course, also laying down mines could be of help. Perhaps barbed wire, perhaps more sandbags would be nice, and perhaps pushing onwards in the west would also be a trick. But it sort of has been sort of edging forwards and back. But really, one of what Szemerac really needs to work on is getting back some territory instead of trying to hold it better. That's currently not really his forte. And let us return to the fight. Panzer Grenadiers advancing in a solid small force. Rangers holding the line. No submachine guns for these chaps though. Bazooka rockets flying through the air. Two Panzer Grenadiers are already down. The rest though continue onwards. Assault rifles blazing. Suppressive volume on the Rangers, keeping them down, decreasing the rate of fire, allowing the assault rifles to move in. But no, they don't care about the Rangers. They only care about the anti-tank guns. Oh, they have to be careful about that. Panzer Grenadier team might be going down. Forced retreat once more through the ranges. Grenades being thrown at the other Panzer Grenadier team. Clearing it out. Oh dear, of defensive veterans on the assault rifles. And looks like there was a small thing here, but really that was not a good exchange. Needs to get more Panzer Grenadiers, and he needs to use those resources rather than float them. Charging at the other assault gun. Riflemen charging in, BARs blazing, but looks like the anti-tank gun number 2 will also be cleared out by dancing assault grenadiers. Will that happen? Yes indeed. Panzer Lehr managed to secure another small victory, taking up tower behind the fences. No! What are they doing? And the last one retreats, having lost all of his comrades. Hetzer number 2 moving in. Hetzer number 1 also edging in, opening up on the riflemen. Although a veteran 2 riflemen team, be careful, a sticky ball might be thrown. There we go. Longer range due to veteran 2. Damaged engine, but the Bergtiger might be ready to move in to support. Armored car flanking in from the west. Not a bad move, but then again, lots of firepower from those riflemen. An anti-tank gun has been recruited. Although Hetzer is moving in from the flank. Sticky bomb on the armored car. Knocking it out, most unfortunate. But Hetzers are leading the charge. The tiny assault guns leading forwards. And this, oh dear, the anti-tank gun was actually cleared out by the Hetzers. Are continuing to score kills for the Fatherland, opening up on riflemen and anti-tank and alike. And this one is also a bit exposed. Still lacking in infantry. He really needs to work on that, and perhaps also getting some defensive operations so they can actually heal at his base. And armored car has been recovered and de-recovered as a bazooka shot fires through immediately. Had to take quite a bit of fire from the anti-tank gun, almost completely knocked out by the 57mm anti-tank gun. Bergtiger needs to get the devil away. Ranger taking up cover behind the wrecked armored car. Heads are firing away, wrecking the wreckage, and of course ensuring that Bergtiger can't recover it. Bergtiger itself taking quite some damage from the bazookas. This is not good, and oh dear, don't tell me he's trying to take the... Oh dear, one thing to note. Units do take more damage and are easier to hit when they're doing actions right in the battlefield, like, say, for example, recovering a tank, and that also applies to the Bergtiger. In which case, of course, it's going to be that easy to knock out. And there we go, Bergtiger is lost. That could have been avoided. Second heads are not looking too happy. Panzer Grenadiers charging in. Rangers taking up positions. Bazooka rockets and anti-tank gun shells flying away. T-17 has arrived on the field, but a tiller mine has disabled it rather nastily, leaving the engine on fire without even actually having joined the fight. Oh dear, they're so close to this tiller mine. Oh my goodness. One false move and they'll be blown to kingdom come. Through the Fourth Reich. Or even the Fifth. Rather than advancing towards the east. Panzer is sort of still hanging about. No repair upgrades. That's a bit unfortunate. Panzer support command upgrade, but really he needs to use some of that manpower and more troops, perhaps more Schwimmwagens, but he needs to keep on pressing forwards for the fatherland. Instead of just being sort of passive, which won't help him in the long run. Rifleman in the middle of everything, coming under fire from a Hetzer perhaps. Another Hetzer being called in, giving him actually 3 Hetzers. Small platoon of Hetzers. Inching forwards against the riflemen. Opening up on them. Oh dear. 2 kills with 1 hit. The Hetzers are certainly taking a toll on the riflemen now.
Send your mission orders.
But then pulling back again. Panzer Grenadiers need to advance, and more Panzer Grenadiers needs to be secured, and more spotting scopes. But really, more infantry. Do not try to rely on 2 infantry teams, in particular as the Panzer Elite. Schwimmwagen running about behind enemy lines, harassing what they can. Another anti-tank gun is ready, but still nothing to actually protect it, nothing to really keep it safe. Some engineers, but those are going to be swept away by the assault rifles. And oh dear, Panzer Grenadier charging right into the BAR equipped rifleman. Oh dear. Another team heavily wounded, but the Hetzers continue to fire away, securing heavy kills. And the riflemen secured the anti-tank gun. That was a mismove there. And the anti-tank gun is cleared out. Hetzers advancing ever steadily, ever surely. Medics moving out. And a counter-attack moving in, but coming under fire from the Hetzer. One engineer goes down. And another volley from the Hetzers, killing a rifleman. Veterancy 2. And more riflemen are biting the dust from all this heavy fire. Now out on the road, and that of course means negative cover, meaning they are easier to hit for the Hetzers. More shots flying through. T-17 moving in, perhaps white phosphorus round. No, but riflemen are taking further losses. And a forced retreat at the fates of all these tiny light assault guns. Or tank destroyers, call them whatever you want. Rangers now trying to lead the charge against this formidable foe, this formidable front. And the Rangers are certainly taking quite a bit of fire. One goes down, machine guns blazing. And all main gun hits miss, but machine guns clear out another Ranger, forcing the rest out to retreat. Shells flying through the air. Telemine's not going off, most fortunately for those Rangers. Panzer IV ready, still no Panzer Grenadiers though. It's advancing slowly. Not sure why he wanted to knock out that. And now veterancy 2 more, defensive veterancy, armored skirts ready for the Panzer IV. Good show, but still more Panzer Grenadiers are needed. Returning to Bunnytester, who's now getting more anti-tank guns, having lost all those right here in the center, which is certainly not good for him. Rangers once more going to lead the charge. In the meanwhile, the American forces are pressing towards the west. Artillery being called down right somewhere. And right there at the Panzer Grenadier tank, the central victory point. 2 are down, lost. Oh dear, that was a Panzer Grenadier team down, leaving him with only 1 team of infantry, which is bad. Panzer IV hanging back. No replacement infantry on the way. That is tragic, terrible, horrific. And another anti-tank gun being called in. Pushing heavily towards the west, and really what Szemerac really hasn't been able to do is really take back some of the territory here. Instead he's sort of been focusing with the Schwimmwagen there, when he probably should have been doing it here. Possibly getting more, and possibly spending some of that manpower on something proper. Getting infantry, getting Schwimmwagens, taking territory, and securing more resources than what you currently have, but sadly he seems incapable of doing that. And of course denying the enemy at the same. Engineers charging right ahead, coming under fire from the Hetzers. 1 down. Riflemen and Rangers moving in from the west. Panzer Grenadiers in the middle of everything. More assault Grenadiers moving in.
Enemy unit down.
And another team lost. That was absolutely terrible. But good move there by pushing onwards there by Bunnytester as Panzer IV blasting away. At the same time, good show there, and really pushing onwards in the west, up here, right to the enemy base. Always good, and it's really putting the pressure up on Mr. Szemerac, denying him resources, denying him fuel, pretty much denying him everything. And a tank gun could do with moving a bit forwards, a bit more coordination between the different branches. And Szemerac really needs to get more infantry, desperately. Rifleman leading a charge. Taking quite heavy losses, but artillery being called in on the Panzer IV. Panzer IV taking quite a bit of damage. Gunner is killed. Nearby Hetzers also take a bit, but not quite as much as the venerable Panzer IV F1, which is sort of mucking about. Riflemen getting some assault grenadiers. T-17 moving in to support these assault grenadiers. Really need to get out of there. Not looking good for them. In fact, this could... And Rangers moving in from the rear, hoping to knock out the Panzer IV with the bazookas, although the armored skirts provide protection, but still they could do it. Hetzers now charging in to provide cover. At the same time, we are seeing some small offensive engagement in the north. Panzer IV knocked out by the Rangers. Good move there. Then retreating. A risky maneuver, but it worked out. Off-map combat group ready as well. T-17 could also be moving in, putting pressure on the north. There we go. Grenade being used against the flak failing, my goodness. And the T-17 might clear it out completely, yes indeed. Almost the crew is gone, down to one man, and there he goes, flying up over the... No, he's not. He's hiding. Apparently something's going on, but I'm not sure what. And now the headsets are moving in, responding to the threat. And opening up on the T-17, knocking out the last member of the flak-failing crew. It needs to get out there quickly. Headsets blasting away. The T-17 now moving out finally. And a sticky bomb could be thrown over the hedge. Another defensive infantry upgrade on the headsets. And we are seeing an M18 Hellcat ready. Heavy machine gun as well. Rifleman also. Again, not a lot of infantry. Another Bergtiger though, rather interestingly. Not sure where he got that one from. Now the charge of the headsets goes forwards across the remains of the open plains, opening up on this anti-tank gun, which is firing in response, being supported by another anti-tank gun. Hellcat also opening up, but the headsets, at least the lead one, is too hardened. Damaged engine on one headset. Sticky bomb could be thrown. M18 Hellcat is simply outnumbered. The anti-tank gun cleared out. Heavy machine gun desperate. Another one standing nearby. Anti-tank gun moving out. Somehow managing to avoid the Tellermines. My goodness. Hoping to get a few shots on the headsets, but they're just beyond the targeting reticule of it. And it moves further in, hoping to get the shot off. Heads are putting back together the Panzer IV, although the main gun still needs assembly. Sticky bomb being thrown back at the Panzer IV. Anti-tank gun could also be opening up, but no. Headsets are now moving in, charging the American base.
Base is taking fire.
Panzer IV in dire need of repairs. Getting it from the Bergtiger. Headsets continuing a frontal assault, being hit by everything.
Enemy unit
That can be mastered, although sticky bombs and bazooka rockets will be the only remedy, although the bazookas need to be hitting from the side, not the front. Sticky bomb on the frontal headset. Destroyed engine. That headset will perhaps not make it out of there unless, of course, its comrades, brethren, are able to cover it. And no, it is out of control. Panzer IV lost once more.
got hostiles. Enemy unit down.
Assault grenadiers torn apart. Still not good uses of cover, not good uses of infantry. Headsets making out of that. I mean, that's actually a pretty interesting scene there, certainly, but I don't really think it's been probably used. And of course, he probably should have been getting some support for those headsets in terms of infantry, perhaps in terms of something else rather than just charging them on their own. Suffering one headset loss, and the others two are pretty badly banged up and will be needed to be taken out of the fight for repairs. Even with the expert repairs of the Bergtiger, it won't be lasting long. And a sticky bomb on the last one trailing behind.
Enemy unit
There we go, and veteranry free for the riflemen, turning them into helpless devils. Bergtiger sort of shuffling around, not entirely sure what to do. Assault grenadiers leading something, not sure what. Once more trying to pull together the Panzer IV. Anti-tank gun recruit and opening up on the Bergtiger, which of course now takes more damage. Heads are moving in to sort of cover it. Taking quite a bit of fire. Rangers taking up position there, hitting the side. Oh dear. And we are seeing a Yak Panther moving in. The Yak Panther armed with the mighty 88mm cannon, hoping to perhaps turn the tide. Panzer IV is ready, but still its main gun is out of commission. Yak Panther opening up on the Rangers inside the building, killing one. Panzer Grenadiers out in the open. They need to get out of there. And once more, I'm not sure why he's just charging them across open ground without using cover, without using common sense.
enemy unit down.
And there we go. All infantry is lost. Only a Panzer IV, a Yak Panther, and a Bergtiger are left. And they are all getting the devil out of there. The Yak Panther providing cover. Not the happiest stage in the Panzer Lehr life, even with help from the Schwerer Jagdpanzer Abteilung 650 53, and let us speed things up a bit. We leave things are a bit quiet as howitzers also ready now for Bunnytester. And we are seeing Panzer Grenadiers arriving on the field. Panzer IV repaired. Anti-tank guns getting repaired. This is good. Pushing through here. Once more denying the Panzer Lehr what little territory is left. Artillery being called in the Panzer Lehr base, and let us return to regular speed. The assault once more moving. Jagdpanther opening up a bit. Not hitting much though. Panzer IV though might be able to do the trick, and now pushing onwards in the west as well. Taking the victory points there. Panzer IV and Jagdpanther moving in for the kill. The Jagdpanther being one of the few variants on the Panther chassis which actually didn't receive a lot of variants. There was the Jagdpanther and there was the, well, Bergpanther. There were some experimental AA guns, but they never really got anywhere for the most part, I believe. It was rather the Panzer IV and the Panzer 38T and such that really got all the variants, which really saw a lot of usage in different manners. Hellcat and T-17 maneuvering in the south, anti-tank on blockade right there, and tank traps being laid down. Rather interesting, actually. Rarely you see that being used by the Americans, but that's certainly not meant as a discouragement. Certainly could be using those more, and certainly could have been using those to stop those armored cars a bit more. Riflemen moving in. Artillery flying in at the Panzer Elite base. Quite a bit. And against the Panzer IV right here as well. Which of course means it needs to get out of there, and there we go. Quite a few hits, almost knocking it out. This Panzer IV has certainly been brought in, I believe this is the third time. Quite a bit, and now getting repaired by the Bergtiger once more. This is probably routine by now. They probably even have a nickname for that Panzer IV.
I shall call it Bratwurst. It's not a nickname, Hans, but nein. It is Sturmtiger. But that's something else. Shut up.
There we go. Not looking good at all for the Panzer Lehr in their final moments. Trying to retake their northern victory point. Let us speed things up a bit until we see something decent. Pulling back apparently, not sure what to do. And moving through for an assault in the west. Sticky bomb going off on the Jagdpanther. And once more nothing. Artillery being called in. The Jagdpanther managed to survive it all. Panzer Grenadiers hitting a mine. Not sure what's going on. And apparently Bunnytester is not reacting at all. Panzer Grenadiers lost. Bergtiger moving in. Let us slow down things a bit. Panzer IV opening up. Bergtiger trying to take point, but those anti-tank guns turn against it. And we're seeing a machine gun near more tank traps. Interesting. No one actually able to take this point. Armored car repaired. Bergtiger's rear is exposed. No idea what he's sort of trying to do here. A last desperate blockade, who knows? Sticky bomb going off on the Bergtiger. Destroyed engine, bazooka rocket banging off. No luck there. Jagdpanther, Panzer IV armored car sort of protecting. Rangers getting into the building, hoping to get off a wrist shot.
Enemy unit down.
Well, that happens. Sticky bomb going off on the Bergtiger. That's probably going to be its end. There we go. Panzer IV taking shot at the rear from the Rangers. Veteran D2, that's certainly going to make them nasty. Jagdpanther firing away. Damaged engine still there. And artillery going in at the Panzer Elite base. Still no infantry for them anymore. Szemerac though. Rangers taking heavy losses inside the building. Forced to retreat right through all of this.
Observation posts report we are losing a sector.
Heads are arriving on the field. Szemerac trying to take the northern point with not much left. Not a lot of victory points, in fact, either. Armored car almost close to getting knocked out. And looks like a Tailor mine went off or something, not entirely sure, but their veterancy protected them a bit. Sticky bomb going off on the Yak Panther, oh dear, and of course extra damage also applies to sticky bombs, I believe. And armor piercing shells hitting the rear, oh dear, that rhymed. And the rear as well there, good usage in attacking them from all sides, and possibly, hopefully also using armor piercing rounds. Sticky bomb going off on the Panzer 4.
Enemy unit down.
That is lost, and the Yak Panther is on a very tragic route. GG. All nice and dandy there. Let us speed things up, and there we go. Game over. A victory for the 4th Infantry Division in the face of the Panzer Lehr, despite even bringing in the Yak Panther. So, what can we learn from this? Well, sort of the usual, well, hey, let's go for Panzer Grenades, then go for armored castle, let's not sort of think in depth of any sort of long-term strategies. Then he sort of went, well, let's go for tanks, so let's get some heads, which again sort of worked for him. But he wasn't really able to retake the territory, which was rather his main problem, and he wasn't really able to do much because he lacked infantry, he lacked capping power. And he was sort of relying too much on units, which he sort of threw away, which of course meant a lot of manpower quickly down the drain. That was rather his problem, whereas with Bunnytester we saw some good use of cover, mines, anti-tank guns, keeping on the pressure, hitting from all sides, really denying him territory and resources. That was really good, so there you go. Hope you enjoyed this fight. If you did want to subscribe or tell your friends, and if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own. This is Imperial Dane saying try to do something different than just Panzer Grenadiers and armored cars if you're playing as the Panzer Elite. Cheers.